Welcome to Bard's Gaming Corner. I'm Bard, and we're playing Pillars of Eternity 1.
Indeed.
And we've arrived in our Let's Play last video in the city of Defiance Bay, the central city of the Deerwood region. We got a couple of quests, and I think we're gonna explore the city a bit, and then go after, never far from the Queen, go to the Temple of Woedica. Yeah. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. It is nighttime.
Adair, you have said you fought in the Saints' War, but for which side?
The one that blew up my god.
I didn't mean anything by it. I imagine a man with a head made of fire and light would be very convincing.
Funny thing about your Woodens. For all that fire and light, they just treated him like another authority figure.
Oh, the marketplace. Paragon. Oh, yes. Well, we kind of screwed Paragon, but the merchant from the countryside. Hello again, the Orlan woman says in a familiar tone. Thanks for visiting my store. Still trying to recover from losing that cargo, she says with a huff. My inventory isn't what it used to be, but hopefully I've got something you'll like. Show me your wares. Okay, lots of traps. Hardly ever use traps in pillars. Let's see, camping supplies. I'll take one camping supply. Let's see, what's this? We can't sell those. Oh, which is worth nothing. Light armor. Ooh. Club. Cape. Fine sword. Okay. At least we got some money. And we got a castle as well. We're building stuff. And this will be finished in, well, short of 3 days. And we got a bright hollow. And the bright, it's like like an inn, at least a place where we can rest. Let's see. Igren looks like a weapon.
Welcome!
Igren stands behind a stall, polishing a broadsword. The patterned flesh around his eyes is crinkled with age, and the muscles in his arms are knotty and lean, but he holds the weapon with ease. He nods at you. Come to take a look? You won't find a finer collection of armor and weaponry in Defiance Bay. Outside Sonald's, of course. He flashes a crooked grin. What's so special about Sonald? She operates in the Expedition Hall. He jerks a thumb over his shoulder. He sells the best equipment in the city, but Weenan keeps her on a short leash. Keeps her fine inventory reserved for chartered expeditionists, members of the dozens, and anyone else he takes a liking to. Let's see what you have for sale. Okay, lots of stuff I can't afford right now. Yeah, a lockpick. Oh, maybe a couple of lockpicks. Those may come in handy. Yeah. Oh, lots of stuff here to sell. Fine arbalest. Let's see. Fine Morning Star. Whispers of the Yenwood. Trade. Okay. Armor.
Gods keep you.
The merchant smiles brightly. Well met, traveler. Were you interested in purchasing any rations for your journeys? Show me your wares. Camping supplies. Well, at least there are a couple of places where I can get camping supplies. You have to be somewhat careful about when and where to use your camping supplies, because there is a limit to the amount you can buy. But when I finished this game about 2 years ago, I had plenty left, so you don't have to be too careful with them.
Welcome!
A young woman stands by a cart, watching the crowd with large bright eyes that focus on you as you approach. Take your time, traveler. If you're looking for enchanted scrolls or garb, you've come to the right place. Show me your wares. Oh, rings. Okay. Ooh, it's... Hilde. This is oil. And here maybe. Let's see, it's been about a week since I last played the game, so how are my characters right now? I just leveled up. But he is take a while for him to level up. For him as well. For him. Oh, okay.
This looks like the kind of place we could find allies. For a prize.
Abandoned Lear. A well-groomed man steps through the hall with a confident swagger, a smug grin etched on his face. He's flanked by 5 other hard-looking individuals. Behind the nimble, one of his companions eyes you for a moment before spitting chew at your feet. Another pup come wandering in, I see. Just know that Bind's giant slayers run things around here, and you'll be fine. Never heard of them. Brandon behind the nimble, his eyes narrow. We have now. Stick around Defiance Bay and you will again. Plenty of bounties to go around, but there's a reason the giant slayers get the lion's share. Remember that. Weenan, a voice bellows across the hall. Enough jabber, Bind. You gonna do the job or talk about it? His jaw tightens. Weenan's right, that coin ain't gonna collect itself. Looks at his comrades and jerks his chin toward the door. See you around, pup. Yeah, but nice people.
Don't stand on ceremony. State your business.
Tell me about the dozens. Renan's expression becomes serious, the timbre of his voice deepening. Good men and women trying to walk in the footsteps of great men and women who came before us. A loose association, warriors and expeditionaries in the Deerwood. Not as fancy as the Crucible Knights, mind you, but at least we remember our roots. Please remember someone else's roots and pretend to like them, he means. Your roots? The Crucible Knights take pride in having won the Deerwood's freedom 150 years ago, but we're the ones who've protected it. Everyone knows that the Saints' War ended when the Godhammer destroyed Waitwen at Evandur Bridge. Grur. A lot of folks don't know how Waitwen wound up on that bridge. 7 men, 5 women. They walked out of Helgot's citadel and faced down a god. Held him there until the bomb went off. Thumbs the table. That's the legacy we defend. Some call us mercenaries, but we don't need matching armor and silky cloaks to remember our roles. We're the same now as we were then. We stand up for the people, first line of defense, whatever it takes. We got new enemies now, it's not Waitwen, it's his damned legacy. It's the damn soul butchers in Brackenbury making things worse on all of us. Probably causing the whole thing, one way or another. Well, we haven't gone anywhere, and there's a lot more than 12 of us now. We defended it Deerwood once, we'll do it again. Weenan casually nods your way. His eyes continue to float from mercenary to mercenary as he speaks. What else do you need? Looking for work.
Go see Osric. He's usually got something. You do well for him, maybe I can find you more.
Farewell. His voice sounds familiar. Voice actor from Skyrim. Get an arrow to the knee.
For the last time, Aidwig, keep your fucking blade up! If that dummy was armed, it'd have your head off!
It's treasure hunting, plain and simple. Sponsors put up money, hire adventurers to explore the wilds, looking for runes mostly. They come back alive, they split the spoils. If not, it's because they handle their weapons like this lot in front of me, who might as well be digging their own graves right now. Excuse me. I'm looking for work.
You want an expedition? Talk to Wenham. I just handle these mercenary shit shovelers. Adventurers, I mean.
Although, he sizes you up, I do have something I need done. Something that requires, glances sidelong at an adventure flaying helplessly at a dummy. Competence. What do you need done?
I was formerly one of the Knights of the Crucible. When I left, they kept my arms and armor. The arms they can have, but the armor belonged to my family. I'd like it back.
Doesn't sound like leaving the Crucible Knights was your choice.
You don't choose to leave knighthood. The Crucible Knights, they may not be a real knighthood, but the oaths you swear are just as true. Still, turns out that even unofficial knighthoods have politics. You cross the wrong man, suddenly all kinds of accusations are thrown your way, and nobody believes you.
Hey there, nothing more destructive than a crowd with the wrong idea. Why don't you just go ask for it back?
No. Oh, they'd like that, I'm sure. But I won't be going. Sooner be torn apart by dogs than give them the satisfaction.
What's this armor?
It's a breastplate. Not much to look at, and it's seen far too much use, but it's been in my family since the liberation.
I'll see what I can do.
Then it's Penhelm you're looking for. A low snake of a man. If he was to die choking on his own black tongue, it'd be too kind of fate. He kept it when he had me kicked out.
Yeah. I got word from a reliable source that Penhelm visited a forger in Ungra's Gift right after having his soul lineages read by a cipher in Dunred Row. Should you have it in your heart to find a way to ruin his life while you're there, well, drinks on me. Having his soul lineage read?
It's a requirement to join the Knights. They have to ensure a novitiate doesn't have a subversive lineage. If Penhelm's superiors found out his affidavit was a fake, his career would be over. Every novitiate gets an affidavit from Dunreed Row, and those are stored at Crucible Keep. If you find Penhelm's, one of those ciphers could tell you if it's real.
Sagani scratches the back of her neck. Generations of Masuk's traditions are any indication, this Penhelm probably doesn't remember it. Still, past like that has to count for something. Alright. We got a quest. And let's see. We go here. I like this. Oh. Oh, so note.
Hail, traveler.
The woman looks from polishing a dagger. Haven't seen you before. You headed out with an expedition company? She raises an eyebrow. Or are you betting on one? How long have you worked at Atmas Den? She leans on the countertop and drums her fingers. Oh, a few years. I got in the minute the last merchant cleared out. She nods towards the main area of the hall. They've got new expeditions venturing out every week, so this is a great place to do business. And the dozens make loyal friends and loyal customers, as long as you stick by them. He taps the counter. The vendor who was here before me, they ran him out when he sold his best helms to a pair of Crucible Knights. I've been careful not to make the same mistake. Can I buy something? I'm afraid not. See, the dozens only do business with me so long as I only do business with them. They're good customers. Jerks your thumb at the door, but if you get on Osric's good side, he could make an exception for you. He's probably training some of the new recruits right now. Tell me about the expeditions. There are groups of adventurers that venture into the wilderness. More than a few of them try their luck, scouring the ruins. Most of them come back empty-handed, if they come back at all. Betting on them is almost as risky as actually going. But that's how the expeditions get funded. And every once in a while, one of the adventuring companies will strike it big and make a fortune for their backers. Alright.
A simple test.
Yes.
That's settled.
Good luck.
I can do that.
No, we come back later. We wanna use up all our luck fixing. This. All very important. Alright, let's go out. Loading screen of this game is somewhat long, even with my SDD card. I played this game with an old-fashioned hard disk at first on my old PC. Basically could do all my housework or homework when I went to another area. Berg's house, who's Berg's? Oh. Task. I'll visit those locations later. Oh, no shortage of grappling hooks at the moment. There's all revealed. There's fires. Yeah, let's go to the Brackenberry. That's the richest part of the city. World map. Let's go to the first fires first. That's basically the government part of the city. Oh, nifty 60 XP.
Sagani, does your fox bite?
Yes,
Can I pet him anyway?
it's your hand.
I'm gonna pet him.
Okay, let's see. Temple of Woedica. Crucible Mary. Inverse Gift. Radiant Embassy. Heritage Hill. That's this. Stones of this ancient tower have been blackened by centuries-old fires, surrounded by a patch of wildflowers. It looks like a memorial. Okay. But like... Yeah. Here.
Oh, this would be our Church of Woedica. Dear Woodens. Probably the first thing we burned during the Revolution.
Praise to the exiled queen. May her crown be restored and her justice prevail. Come to pay your respects to the queen that was.
The ghost hovers in the middle of the ruins, reciting blessings and prayers. Even as the spirit's form shifts and swirls, it retains the face of an elderly man in robes that mark wealth and status. Turns to you. Who are you?
Lord Ardwellen Rugform III, am pleased to make your acquaintance. I came to the Deerwood on one of the first ships from Adia, and unlike the yokels and hut dwellers around here, I still keep to the old ways.
It's truly a pity to see what the locals have done to Woedica's house of worship. I was told I'd find the Temple of Woedica here.
And so you did. These savage colonists may have burned it down, but worship of the Oathbinder is alive and well. These stairs lead to the main sanctum.
What stairs?
These stairs, of course. The sanctum was always below ground, adjacent to the catacombs, so it wasn't destroyed by the fires.
Tell me where I'd find an entrance to these catacombs.
There are various entrances throughout Defiance Bay, but I dare say the easiest to reach is in Copper Lane. I haven't been to that part of town in ages, but as I recall, it's somewhere near the southern gate.
What are you doing?
Lord Ardwellen Rugform III.
What are you doing?
Worshipping Woedica, the exiled queen and Oathbinder. I come every day to offer my devotion. I'd love nothing more than to book passage back to Adia, but it is my Emperor's wish that I serve in these barbaric lands. And so I do.
He shrugs. I'd like to know more about Woedica.
A queen among the gods. She oversees laws and oaths. Everything has a rightful place, and Woedica watches over them all. Of course, not everyone accepts this. Even among the other gods, her authority is questioned. But Woedica is also goddess of memory and vengeance, and she remembers. She'll remember every slight and trespass when she reclaims her throne.
You know that you're a ghost, right?
I beg your pardon? Is this some sort of joke where you come from?
I'm serious, just look at yourself.
A madhouse. That's what this town really needs.
Goodbye. So Annie draws up next to you. You alright? You look almost like you'd lost your footing for a moment. Feels that way when I see into the ether. She watches you quietly. You really are a watcher, aren't you? Once in a great many generations, one of my people is born with the ability to speak to souls. Usually such individuals become elders, or a lone set of tracks in the snow. She cocks her head. I would have thought my journey would be easier if I could see what you see. But looking at you, I'm not so sure. My abilities are a blessing. Believe it or not, I once would have rejoiced to know I'd been picked to travel far in the search of something great. But even these gifts come with a cost, don't they? Forgive me if I was a little skeptical of your abilities before. Let's say I've met a real watcher before. Hey there. Oh, don't worry about him. Just likes doing that from time to time. Seems to cheer him up, so I just let him. Alof. Once you've seen it a few times, the shock wears off. Every time he goes a little strange in the head, I try and see if I can hear anything. He grins. Hasn't worked so far. See if you can get him to tell you what the spirit said. Maybe other stuff here. Yeah. Well, at least Alof level up. Ah, fireball. So we're a little bit more dangerous. Much experience, I think. A little bit. Alright. We're gonna visit Crucible Keep for that piece of armor. Justicar Altmar.
Good day, stranger.
Altmar gives you an appraising eye. Judging by the scars on his face, he's lucky to be able to do that much. Every day we get more from the hinterlands pouring into Defiance Bay. Keeps us busy on the watch, it does. You look like you're recently arrived yourself. Who are you? Soldier of the Crucible Knights, and proud of it. I help keep everything running at the keep so that Commander Cliver can focus on more important matters. Looking for something or just knocking the dirt off your boots? What goes on in Crucible Keep? This is the headquarters of the Crucible Knights, so it's where we store arms and armor as well where many of our soldiers bunk. Commander Cliver's in the back making plans, as usual. He scratches a scarred cheek. You find the force at the west of the building, along with our mastersmith Dunstan. There's also a shrine to the Golem, if you're the praying type. Tell me about the Crucible Knights. We're the defenders of Defiance Bay. Not exactly a formal knighthood, but don't tell Commander Cliver I said that. He grins. We were the first organized militia to oppose the Darien rule, and today we're the largest force in the city. Our soldiers undergo years of combat training, and our officers are required to have their souls read by that critter out in Dunred Row. What's this about Dunred Row? Just a requirement of the Crucible Knights, so that higher ups know there's nothing messy built in your soul's past. Altmar widens his stance. Keeping the ranks pure is fine by me, just wish they were more careful in hiring their ciphers. What's wrong with their ciphers? He shifts his weight and glances at the empty halls. They are mostly Orlans. Sure, they're talented enough, but you just can't trust them. Hostility's in their nature, and they've learned to hide it over the years. He frowns and crosses his arms. All I'm saying is they should at least be supervised by other folk. That's reasonable enough, isn't it? Sounds fair enough. Exactly, but it seems like you can hardly make a simple statement like that without someone wanting to draw steel over it. That's all. Training room, archive, forge, barracks, room. Gonna... Now let's give him athletics. I'll give him survival. And some more stealth. Oh. This one is... because I've got 2 ranged characters.
I can do that. That's settled.
Edict of Arrest. This is an edict. This edict calls for the arrest of Aeron, whose recent actions have led to the death of a Knight of the Crucible. And requests reporting any information to Justicar Altmore. It's signed Commander Clive. Find Aeron. Some stuff here. Penhelm's David. Current and Cipher, duly appointed and employed by Dunwood Row, does hereby certify that Nuviate A.M. Penhelm has been found to have a soul free of any subversive influences or tainted essence. The scroll stamped with the seal of Dunwood Row and signed by both Penhelm and Curran. Yeah, nothing of note here.
We just don't have the manpower. Refugees from every corner of the Deerwood. The dozens getting them all riled up about animancy. At this rate, we'll need twice the soldiers to patrol Defiance Bay. Yes? Can I help you with something?
You're in charge of the Crucible Knights? Here in Defiance Bay anyhow. The High Justice is the leader of our order, but he's currently stationed at Fleetbreaker Castle. My job is to oversee our forces in Defiance Bay and to keep order for the Duke. Was there anything else? Was there something else I can do for you? Why don't you have enough soldiers?
Fleetbreaker Castle. The High Justice has summoned almost half of my novitiates, and more of my justiciars to a keep on the other side of New Hailmar. It's not for me to question the High Justice's orders, but it's left us short-handed. And mark me, we're just a couple sparks away from anarchy.
Is there any way I can help? I know how to handle myself. Gives you a thin smile. Always refreshing to meet someone who'd rather fix a problem than complain about it. Forge Master Dunstan is working with an Animancy scholar to build what we're calling Forge Knights. Warriors that can control our streets without suffering fatigue, disobedience or fear. Some agitator throws a rock at them, we don't have to worry about things getting out of hand. He's constructed the armor, but we need the scholar's research. Unfortunately, she hasn't been around the last few times, and my novices have checked. Diana lives with the rest of the Scriveners out in Copper Lane, but I haven't the soldiers to spare at the moment. Go to the Scriveners' dormitory and see if you can find her. When you get the research, just bring it to Dunstan. This is his area of expertise anyway. Once you've brought him the research, he can sell you any arms or armor if you need. He forges and repairs all of our equipment. You won't find a more capable smith in Defiance Bay. Tell me about the Knights of the Crucible. He crosses his hands behind his back. We're the only professional army in Defiance Bay, or in the Deerwood for that matter. We defended the city in Hadred's day. Improved our training since then, but Dunred can certify that many of our officers come from good Deerwooden fighting stock. Now, we're responsible for patrolling the city and keeping the peace. With so many refugees pouring in from the countryside, it's become more important than ever. Unfortunately, that's earned us enemies, particularly among the dozens and some of the more enterprising families in Defiance Bay. What do the dozens have against you? He snorts. They're demagogues and troublemakers. They forget that Defiance Bay is one of the largest cities in the world and not some frontier outpost. Most of them are mercenaries on a good day and street thugs the rest of the time. Needless to say, they've no patience for law and order. Tell me about these enterprising families. House Dominel, namely, one of the city's oldest noble families and its largest criminal organization. Their patriarch, Getmar, has been trying to take advantage of the turmoil to expand his operations. We've kept on top of him. He hasn't been too happy about that. I see. Is there something else I can do for you? Goodbye. We have to return to Copper Lane. Book we can sell. Dare wants to talk.
Strange place for a shrine to Abaddon, Crucible Keep. Maybe it made more sense at some point before it gathered all that dust. And the only thing the Knights of the Crucible worship these days is the nobility, as far as I understand it.
I knew some soldiers who got recruited by the Knights after the war was over. They told me some about it. You get these young kids in there and they tell them about blacksmithing and about the revolution and about tradition. Talk about the Golem like he created the Crucible Knights in his force to go win Deerwood's independence. Then they join and it turns out all any of those knights ever talks about is when we're gonna get reorganized as a real knighthood. When are we getting our titles and our land? Their High Justice wants to be an earl. Says it's Abaddon's will. He's got a castle and an army. You wonder how long he'll wait before he starts a war over it, saying Abaddon told him to. They don't seem all bad. They're keeping peace in Defiance Bay. There's the kernel of something good in there, I think. Some good people wanting to do right by each other. Trouble is, they're headed away from it. Good. You can sacrifice stuff. Oh, endurance can level up. Well, of course, mechanics, more mechanics. A little bit of survival. He's a little bit stronger. Oh. Nothing here. We'll have to wait for him to leave.
Slow and silent.
Yes.
I can do that. That's settled. A simple test. That's settled. I can do that. That's settled.
I got some nice stuff out of it.
A simple test. That's settled.
Ah, Sagani has a level up. Let's increase athletics. Phoenix. So. See, Swift Aim. The ranger gets into speedy and fluid offensive rhythm, reducing accuracy but increasing fire rate and reload time with ranged weapon and attack rate with melee weapons. Defensive bond. The empathic bond between ranger and animal companion yields a predator natural awareness of incoming danger, giving both a significant bonus to defense when both are subjected to the same area of effect attack. Stalker's Link. Long experience fighting together enables the ranger and animal companion to fight as a highly efficient team. The ranger gains an accuracy bonus when fighting any enemy already engaged by the animal companion. Predator sense. Heightens the predatory instinct of the ranger's animal companion, giving them a damage bonus on any creature suffering a damage over time effect. Arrow sense. The ranger gains a portion of his or animal's companion's senses and instincts, becoming especially sensitive to incoming range attacks that target deflection. Plus 15 deflection against range attacks. Oh. And vicious aim. I think arrow senses. Nice. Then.
If this is about the breastplates, I already told Cleaver they won't be repaired till next week.
Commander Cleaver said you're working with an animancer to build Forge Knights.
So much for his talk of secrecy. Aye, I'm building Cleaver's metal warriors. He says they're what we need to keep order in Defiance Bay, so...
How are you creating these Forge Knights? Suits of armor and souls. Cleaver's had me repairing and reinforcing unused armor for months now. We can fill them with some poor such essence. He wipes his shining brow. As long as that scholar's girl's got her numbers right, infusing the armor with a soul won't be that hard, but that's not what bothers me. And you need Viana's research to complete them? She's been working out a method to transfer the souls into the armor. Getting the process just right is critical. Holds up one hand. Bind the souls too tightly and you get something like those flesh constructs at the sanitarium. Barely bright enough to avoid walking into a wall. Raises his other hand. But bind them too loosey and they'll be too self-aware for their own good. Mad killers in metal bodies. Do you disagree with Cleaver about the Forge Knights? I disagree with him on near about everything, and this is no exception. These Forge Knights won't solve our manpower problem. He can call them what he wants, but they aren't knights. Doesn't take Itumak's nose to smell the trouble here. A group that can't stand together is headed for a fall. He folds his arms and looks at the ground. Don't get me started on the other problem. Those souls he bought to power the Forge Knight, Cleaver keeps telling himself that they came from willing donors, but he knows better. There's a reason you have to buy souls through less than legal channels. We should be clearing those scavengers off the road, not doing business with them. Enough about the Force Knights, if only. Something else on your mind? What do you do here?
I'm a forge master. I'm a master smith for the Crucible Knights. But the way I see it, I'm also keeping up with our old traditions. The first members of our order were smiths. Nowadays, most everyone's a professional soldier. I suppose it's to be expected, but I think it's important we keep up with our roots, too.
Tell me about the Knights.
We were all smiths back in Hodred's day, though I'm about the only one here who still gets his hands dirty. We're a fearsome fighting force, though these days I think Cleaver takes more pride in our parade formations.
Oh, it's here. Oh, that's Penhelm.
Hail and well met.
Does the name Osric sound familiar? Have you got any self-respect you won't associate with him? With any of his new friends at the expedition hall for that matter? Scams and delinquents, a lot of them. What's the story between you two? Osric has always held some controversial opinions. They went overlooked for the longest time because his family has such an extensive history of service in the Crucible Knights. Frowns and crosses his arms. Finally went too far. He had the goal to suggest that we had strayed too far from our roots, that some of our officers were beginning to resemble a dear nobility. Rubs a spot on his brazier with a silk handkerchief. He would have us all wear rough span and fight with forge hammers. I merely reported his statements. I don't see the problem. He sputters. Peoples change. Organizations change. The Crucible Knights began as a militia of blacksmiths. But Dunson's one of the only officers who can wield a hammer these days. We're professional soldiers. Isn't that what you want defending a city? Besides, Noviciate has no business maligning his superiors. He says your affidavit is a forgery. Just what would you know about that? It's perfectly convenient for him to cast aspersions. What with his pedigree in the night. He folds his arms, blinks at you. It's a lie, of course. Is that his breastplate you're wearing? It was. Became property of the Crucible Knights when he was discharged. Now it's mine. And it's not for sale, if that's what you're wondering. And every day you find armor that was used in the rebellion. Enough about Osric. On that we can agree. How does someone become a knight? We don't take just anyone. Members share soul legacies with the very men and women who defended this land a century and a half ago. Shift his weight and cuffs. Anyhow, Commander Cleaver is responsible for initiations, but he rarely accepts foreigners. Was there anything else? Tell me about the Knights of the Crucible. We're the primary defenders of Defiance Bay. The Order's founders were the first to rally for their wooden independence. He waves his hand. Of course, that's ancient history now. Now we're the most prestigious company of soldiers in the Deerwood. It's a glorious line of work. He scrunches up his nose. If you can forget about the barracks, that is. A bit of a snob. Can't use it. Inventory is already full. Okay. Let's see. Self, Rogue Knight. We have the affidavit. Penhelm seems to have taken Osric's armor for his own, but have his affidavit in hand as a possible bargaining chip. Current the cipher who signed of Penhelm's affidavit works as Hadrat House in Brackenbury. Should know for certain whether or not the affidavit is genuine. Okay. Let's leave any room. Oh, we haven't visited that. Let's see if we can find someone here. Not much interesting here. Let's go to Brackenbury first. Look for Curran. See if the affidavit is a forgery or not. And Dunwood Road. Hedred House. Yeah, that's right. Right there on Copper Lane. That is. Yeah, apparently this is the resin. Let's look for Current, that's his name, I think.
Good day, stranger.
The Orland man is surrounded by books and scrolls. His wiry hair stands nearly on end and his ears prick up as you approach. You carry whispers, Cat New, Gilded Phil, old voices indeed. How did you know? Orland grins, revealing a row of dagger-pointed teeth. As a cipher, it's my job to know these things. You carry the whiff of ancients. What else can you tell me? The ears twitch downward. Not as much as I would like, unfortunately. My duties for Lady Webb require me to focus my talents elsewhere. He regards a table filled with scrolls. What brings you to Dunred Row? Show him Penhelm's affidavit. Is this affidavit real? Signed by you? He holds the page, but seems to stare through the words as if something woven in the fabric of the paper. Corin bares his pointed teeth. I remember Penhelm, preening peacock of a man, his mouth dry and his hands moist, when I told him he was the sole descendant of a dear general, one who'd fought against Hadred's rebellion. He scans the affidavit. A forgery, and not the first I've seen. He hands it back to you. But I've no time for the knights and their obsessions. Bring this to his commander, Cleaver, and show him the seal. Points to the wax stamp by his forged signature. If he compares it with another, he should be able to spot the differences. Aleth's gaze flickers to you. Doom a man for the soul the gods gave him. Seems rather unfair. Looks as though you could use some help. Huron wags a clawed finger. Not at liberty to discuss my work, unfortunately. Dunred Row, ears only. A civilian would need the confidence of Lady Webb before I could share. What are you so busy with? Small furry hands gesture expansively at the papers before him. Hollowborn, growing unrest, and the ever-present political intrigues. With so many missing souls, missing persons are the least of our concerns these days. Tell me more about your skills. I check for soul connections, looking for lost things, missing things, or troublesome things, particularly where people of power and influence are concerned. I'm a cipher. Erglan Faf were once known as Pershelwin, Mindhunters. Nice title, yes, but it wasn't until the Animances began working with my kind 40 years ago that we truly understood our power. Now we make some of the best detectives in the world. Tracing souls, we can look at a person and see where they have been. Or look at a weapon and see who has touched it. His nose twitches as he looks at you. Useful for solving crimes, as you can imagine. Farewell. Alright. Okay, we're going to Commander Cleaver. And then we're going to the... Oh. Penhelm. Penhelm's fires is wide. Just talk to that little cipher, did you? One of my novitiates told me someone had seen someone in the records room. Give me the affidavit. I've done nothing to you. Don't worry, I'm sure the knights will let you stay to scrub the latrines. Draws a sword and spits at your feet. I won't let you ruin me over this. Okay. You're all melee. Yeah, let's focus on you. Oh dear.
Join arms!
Can't get a
See. Oh, it's already. Okay. Well, at least Penhelm is dead. You will take him.
settle.
Following your
Come on, Adair. Get your head out of here. No.
Of course.
Okay, it was a tough fight. Really have to start using him better. First things first. Let's go to Crucible Knights, and in first one is Ondra's Gift. Yeah. That's the harbor. Ondra is the, I think, the goddess of the sea. Well, Penhelm really was a dick. You found that Valiant yet? Dunstan needs your resource. Oh, apparently the quest is already done with Penhelm's death. No biggie though. Well, that's it for about now. If you like this type of content, hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.